What would you do if you and your best buddy were the last surviving humans in the world? What if you were living in a biosphere that was the only protection from the unnamed apocalyptic disaster happening outside in the ravaged world? And what would you do if the last female fish in your delicate ecosystem inside that biosphere had perished one morning, suggesting an eventual end to food source reproduction? These are the what-if scenarios at play in the first directorial feature for producer Mel Iselin, who co-wrote the script with Mark Duplass in BIOSPHERE. Not to be mistaken for 1996 American stoner comedy movie Biodome, BIOSPHERE takes place sometime in a not-too-distant future. With an opening reminiscent of Stanley Kubrick's 2001 A Space Odyssey, we're introduced to our two main protagonists, kicking things off with an in-depth conversation of the Super Mario Bros. Game. There's former President Billy, played by Duplass, and his former chief advisor and all-round science nerd Ray, played by Sterling K. Brown. It's quickly established that their survival lies mostly in Ray's hands. He's the brilliant scientist who designed the dome structure they've been cohabiting. Although it's never stipulated, we suspect these two have been living this existence for a few years now. There's a sustainable vegetation system, canned coffee, a fish pond, timed lighting, and debates about reading material and towel slapping antics at play. Although we never find out what caused the apocalypse that leaves these two men in the biosphere, it's highly suggested that Billy had a part to play in the destruction of all mankind. The biosphere's delicate ecosystem is based around a fish pond, and when their only female fish dies, things start to look bleak. There's also an ominous looking green light in the sky that starts to get bigger as the film progresses, but one day, in an example of emergency spontaneous evolution, one of the remaining fish's reproductive organs start changing from male to female, which leads Billy exhibiting his own changes. This extremely peculiar but surprisingly funny post-apocalyptic tale shrewdly addresses issues of gender and procreation without heavy-handedness or judgment, especially in a time where there seems to be a lot of confusion regarding gender dysmorphia or gender identity in our world today. It's a bold move from Duplass and Iselin, one that may divide audiences in our current climate. But you know what? That's not a bad thing. It doesn't shove any agenda or political message down your throat, unlike a few current AAA films out there at the moment.
How did you end up like this?
I mean, resourceful, daring, beautiful, self-sufficient!
Fuck off, film. If anything, this film provokes plenty of thought, and if you're watching this with a friend or spouse, it's certainly going to cause debate. Biosphere feels more like a theatrical play. It's condensed, in one room setting, and throughout you can just feel how this location will be mapped out on the stage. To that end, the characters require actors that can fully embody the roles they occupy, and Sterling K. Brown and Mark Duplass carried this out with conviction and gravitas. Brown plays the grounded scientist with sincerity, while Duplass gets the audience to empathise with his plight. The ethereal staccato choral score elevates the already quirky sci-fi nature on display too. The movie's themes are current and progressive, and they could have been handled terribly or played to lean to a certain political bias, but Biosphere instead comes through as a thought-provoking, engaging film, and it's a shame that there hasn't been more coverage of it. My final thoughts are, this is a particularly quirky film, and some people might not like it, but overall it kind of sheds a kind of light in the kind of human nature of things. You know, if you're with your best bud in this kind of situation and this kind of stuff happens, how would you react? It's that what-if scenario that causes campfire stories late at night. Anyway, that's all I've got time for today. Hope you enjoyed this review, and I'll catch you on the next one. Bye bye.